This is a German comedian, Jan Böhmermann, and yeah, he's always, I don't know, making fun about the conservative or right-winged parties in Germany. He's quite left. So let's see what he has to say about the situation in Germany.
Guten Tag from Germany, the country that needs saving, according to Elon Musk. But don't worry, we know what we are doing. And we know who we are. We are Germans. We are good at inventing long, complicated words, and we are really cool and relaxed. But of course, there's something else we Germans were really good at: inventing Nazis. Germany.
I think actually now in Germany, people are really good in inventing Nazis. So if you say anything that is a little bit conservative or so, you're automatically a Nazi. And I feel also this guy, he's a little bit guilty of this. When I watched his shows, he's often just calling everybody a Nazi and says we have to stop the Nazis.
We may have lost 1 or 2 world wars, but we successfully turned it into a win. And we became Vergangenheitsbewältigungsweltmeister.
Ooh, that's a long word.
We are world champions at confronting our history, a title we've held for 80 years in a row. We won this title by virtue signaling, but with a German twist. We are not just signaling virtue to others, but also to our own guilty conscience. Living in Germany means...
And it's true actually in Germany, when we grow up, we learn like in school or also on TV, there are so many shows, documentaries that talk about the guilt and the Holocaust and all the bad things that happened in a Nazi time, right? So we really know our history. It's also the difference to Japan. I heard in Japan, for example, they didn't really apologize officially what they have done in the Second World War. Many people also don't know that they have done this, for example, Nanjing massacre, where they just killed and raped many people in Nanjing for like 2 weeks. So we don't even learn this. But about our own history in Europe, I think Germans, we really learn this so much in school and on TV.
Being constantly reminded of our past. Every day, 24/7, for now 80 years, we've been telling ourselves, never again. Remembrance of the Holocaust is everywhere in Germany, a country stacked with memorials. Memorials, memorials, memorials.
Yeah, for example, in Berlin, next to the German parliament, there's the Holocaust monument, and then not far away is the monument for the fallen Soviet soldiers. So you can really see that everywhere are these monuments that remind us about the history.
Just in case we forget to never forget. Unfortunately, never again didn't come with a manual on how to never again. Our German extreme right party, the AfD, is projected to win almost every 5th vote in our national election this February. The party is called the Alternative für Deutschland, which literally means alternative for Germany, and they will probably become the 2nd largest party in German parliament.
Yeah, they did. They made they got the 2nd prize. They won the 2nd most seats, right? And I feel like the AfD, okay, there are some right-winged elements in the party, but it's not like it's portrayed in the media that it's a super right-winged extreme party, right? And then many people, including this guy Böhmermann, he's always calling them like Nazis directly, right?
Out of around half a dozen. Here is what one of the AfD's leading figures thinks of German never again.
Wir brauchen nichts anderes als eine erinnerungspolitische Wende 180 Grad.
Yeah, this guy, he's a quite outspoken, I would say conservative right-wing politician, and he had a lot of headlines in the past years. But also, he didn't say that we should totally forget, right? He just said that we should move forward, and I think that's very important actually in Germany. In Germany, people don't move forward. Many people still think it's their fault that the Holocaust happened. I mean, it happened a long time ago, right? There were evil people back then who killed a lot of people. We all know that. But many people project this on the people from today.
I know it's subtle, but AfD's Björn Höcke might sound a bit Hitleresque, which is French for slightly concerning. Höcke recently won a state election in Eastern Germany, securing the first far-right win in a state election since World War II. He, by the way, can legally be called a fascist, as the German court has ruled in one case. So, should the rest of the world be worried?
I don't know that if you just can call people fascists. I don't think he had said anything fascist. I mean, he's, like I said, he's right-wing conservative, but he's not a fascist or a Nazi, right?
Worried about a big German fascist comeback? Jawohl, aber hallo, und zwar so richtig. Yes, you should be worried. Let me explain why. And since I'm German, my explanation, of course, will be pointlessly complicated and inspiringly brutal, like our traditional German bedtime stories. For instance, the one about a boy named Konrad who wouldn't stop sucking his thumbs until they were cut right off. Just for
Popular
educational purposes, of course. So, the AfD was founded in 2013 and it primarily opposed EU policies. Then it quickly radicalized anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, anti-migrant, anti-establishment, and
That's also, again, he's just putting all these words out, right? Anti-Semitism. I don't think they have ever said anything against Jewish people. Anti-Muslim. I mean, they are just pointing out the problems in Germany, which is that there are a lot of immigrants coming to Germany and they get funds from the government without ever having done anything, right? So I can also not blame them. I think I blame the German system right now a little bit, that they just give free money to people that come to Germany. And of course, they won't work if they get free money. So yeah, this party just points out this problem. And in Germany, it's somehow right now there's an issue that you cannot point out these obvious things, because then you will be called a Nazi or a fascist, like he's basically just doing.
Anti-mainstream media. The AfD worked and works the authoritarian playbook. And now they are twisting the truth by hijacking our world-renowned, beautiful German language. Vogelschiss in der Geschichte. A speck of bird shit in German history.
Yeah, I remember one politician said that. I think as a politician, you should not say it like this. You should not phrase it like this. What he wanted to say is that it was 12 years of a Nazi regime, right, which was a very dark point in German history. And this politician said that we cannot always just put break down German history to this 12 years. There also have been many good inventions or good times in the German history. So he wanted to say that, but of course he used his words a little bit poorly. That will haunt you as a politician for a long time.
That's what one of the AfD's founders called Germany's Nazi past, meaning the Holocaust was just a speck of bird shit in our overall success.
He didn't say the Holocaust, he said the Nazi era, right? So also twisting words.
Full history. Success, of course, meaning constantly losing world wars. So far. When Elon Musk, the man who would never salute Nazis, recently interviewed AfD's chairwoman Alice Weidel on X, she gave another vibrant example on how AfD mastered blatant truth twisting.
The biggest success after that terrible era in our history was to label Adolf Hitler as right and conservative. He was exactly the opposite. He wasn't a conservative. He wasn't a libertarian. He was a communist, socialist guy.
Why not try a 180-degree turnaround from the truth?
Okay, again, I think this, if you think about it, I mean, there is some truth to it economical wise. But yeah, of course, you should not say something like this as a politician. Again, I think it will just give you a lot of problems. If you have these thoughts, you should keep it to yourself. So I think that was also not the smartest move by this politician, Frau Weidel.
Let's try, but these obvious little rhetorical tricks are actually effective, thanks to one special German way to cope with our past. Geschichtsvergessenheit. Geschichtsvergessenheit means actively forgetting our, let me put it this way, ambiguous past, despite the endless memorials. Because honestly, having to confront your own history can be really, really exhausting for us Germans.
And also, I think he's totally wrong, right? We are really dealing with our past. Still, everybody knows what happened in those years. So he's basically saying that there's this constant danger of people forgetting about history. It's not that people will forget. It's just the problem is that they cannot move forward if you always are reminded. You are the evil country, you are the evil population, the most evil population of the world. So I think that's the problem, and that's what this party tried to point out, to have a little bit more self-esteem, because right now in Germany, many parties, they try to just have this constant reminder, which is good. We should be reminded, right? But we should not suffer from what our ancestors have done, right? Because we are not them. We are different people, or we are our own, we have our own thoughts now, and we know what happened in the past.
But Geschichtsvergessenheit is not a concept the AfD just recently invented. In 1952, for instance, Konrad Adenauer, one of the founding fathers of our modern
first German chancellor after the Second World War, Konrad Adenauer,
democratic Germany, signed a Wiedergutmachungsabkommen, a reparations agreement, yet another beautiful, accessible German word. And did you know, also a pretty common girl's name in Bavaria? There's little Wiedergutmachungsabkommen. Look at her cute blonde pigtails.
Really not funny.
Come over, Wiedergutmachungsabkommen. The Schweinebraten is ready in the oven. The Wiedergutmachungsabkommen was our post-war reparations
That was okay, this too.
agreement with Israel. But most modern democratic Germans have conveniently forgotten Adenauer's real motives.
Die Macht der Juden, auch heute noch, insbesondere in Amerika, soll man nicht unterschätzen. Und daher habe ich sehr überlegt und sehr bewusst, und das war von jeher meine Meinung, meine ganze Kraft daran gesetzt, so gut es ging, eine Versöhnung herbeizuführen zwischen dem jüdischen Volk und dem deutschen Volk.
Just imagine you say that nowadays you would be so fired in every kind of position in politics. So, other different times there, but people also were a little bit more, they said what they were thinking.
In other words, beware. The Jews are still powerful, even though we try to kill them all. So from now on, we better be nice to them. And then all is wieder gut again. Thank you, Konrad Adenauer. But Nazis never really went away in both Germanys. In the 2000s, a neo-Nazi terrorist group murdered at least 10 people. Their racist crimes continued for years because the German public and police could not even fathom that neo-Nazis could be responsible. Instead, they just publicly blamed immigrants for supposedly killing each other.
Of course, that's bad, right? Every extreme group that kills people or hurts people is bad. But what really annoys me in Germany these days or these years is just if the left side is doing something similar, the media will not really talk about it. And for example, there's this group, it's called the Hammergruppe, the Hammer Group. It's a left-wing radical group. They go out with hammers and hurt people or try to kill them. You don't really read anything about this. And if there's like a right-winged demonstration, which I think I'm also not a fan of extreme right-wing people, right? Maybe they're like, don't know, a couple of hundred people, and then, wow, you should see the other demonstrations of the left-wing people, right? They're every day demonstrating in Berlin or so. It's really a little bit one-sided, I think.
Why are we Germans so blatantly dismissive towards the collective affection for the far right? Partly because in Germany there's a discrepancy between collective memory and individual guilt. We acknowledge our grim past, never again, yada yada yada, but our ancestors, like personally, our families, ourselves, we had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Yes, my great-grandfather was in the Waffen-SS, but he was a cook. And the lasagna he made in Stalingrad tasted like Schuhsohlenauflauf.
Yeah, I mean, his grandfather was a SS, member of the SS, and then he just makes a joke about this, right? If it's about him, then he will just downplay it with a silly joke. And I think, yeah, if his grandfather was in the SS, he was probably an evil guy, but it's not his fault, in my opinion.
So basically, he tried to destroy the Waffen-SS from within. Where's his memorial? By virtue signaling to our own guilty conscience, we got rid of our Nazi past. Germans have sworn to never again so many times that it became an empty phrase. And when a new right-wing leader calls for a 180-degree turnaround on never again, we also don't take it seriously because it somehow feels empty as well. Because no matter what we do, Germans can't be Nazis again. That's the space in which the AfD operates. They can...
Nobody says that. I think there's like a Nazi hunt sometimes. Whenever somebody's saying something, like I said, conservative, a little bit right-winged, he will be a Nazi. His title will be Nazi, and then, yeah, they will try to hunt this person down, or, yeah, try to make this person not speak out again. So I think it's quite effective, the system right now.
say and
Just the problem is that it swaps, it boils over to the other extreme, that it's all going too far to the left, I would say. So I think right now there's no balance anymore.
do Nazi things as long as they aggressively deny that anyone was ever a Nazi. It's like giving the Hitler salute in front of a large crowd of right-wing extremists while denying being a Nazi.
Yeah, that was
It's a
strange.
narrative that seems to be successful all over the world. We aren't Nazis, we just don't fully support liberty, equality and the rule of law. We aren't Nazis, we just want white supremacy. The AfD is not the new Nazi party, they just want Germany to be great again. And that's why now in Germany, the Kacke ist am Dampfen.
Yeah, then you can see, I think, what the problem is like when you say whatever against the mainstream, you're automatically a Nazi in their eyes. So there is where the big problem lies, I think, right now. And yeah, there you go. That's the biggest problem, I think. For example, there are problems, there are issues with immigration, right? If you point this out, then you would be a Nazi already in these people's eyes, or a fascist. And also, I think it's very rude to use this word so easily, because the real Nazis, they did much more horrible things. They killed a lot of people, right? They killed Jewish people, gay people, disabled people. So if you just call everybody who has a conservative opinion or is a little bit right-winged a Nazi, then you really downplay what happened in the history.